Our second thesis is entitled, Stop Thinking About Your Selfie, How Social Media is Turning Us into Narcissists. Please welcome Allie Brown.
Help! Please, God, save me! The deafening cries of a 33-year-old man cut through the sound waves and pierced the hearts of the people nearby. It was 5 p.m. on Christmas Day when a man named Joshua Burwell tumbled over 60 feet at San Diego Sunset Cliffs in 2015. Shortly after, Burwell was pronounced dead. What was the cause of his deadly fall? One might assume he slipped on a rock or lost his balance, but that is not the case. Burwell's smartphone had captured all of his attention. It was reported that he was preoccupied with his phone, wholly immersed in himself, and he walked right off the edge of the cliff. Unfortunately, this is not the only death involving the distraction of a smartphone. Thousands of lives have been cut short due to the distraction of social media. This self-absorbed mindset is not only a physical danger, but a danger to our souls. This danger has to do with the relationship between social media, narcissism, and vanity. Although many people believe social media to be harmless, social media is producing severe narcissism in its users. Because the act of both subconsciously and consciously comparing ourselves rewards shallow values such as wealth, popularity, and skin-deep beauty. Narcissism can be viewed as an excessive focus on oneself and does not have to solely apply to beauty, but to anyone who has a special need for admiration. Likewise, vanity is a sin under which narcissism falls. Vanity, in its true nature, is an inner sense of superiority, whereas narcissism is more of a general involvement and obsession with all aspects of oneself. The time people spend on social media allows for them to post, share, and scroll in a self-centered way. The average person has 5 social media accounts. As of 2015, adults were spending around an hour and 40 minutes scrolling through these sites per day, which makes up for 28% of the time spent on the internet. Since then, that number has jumped up to 2 hours per day, and teenagers can spend as many as 9 hours per day on these platforms. As shown by the alarming statistics, these sites have captured the attention of the people who use them. However, the increasing accessibility of these sites takes that attention they have garnered and twists it back to focus on the user. It is thus the combination of the time spent and the convenience of social media that creates a vicious cycle of narcissistic thoughts. Some may argue that social media merely draws pre-existing narcissistic persons to it and does not cause narcissistic thoughts. Multiple experiments have concluded that narcissists were more drawn to the self-promotional aspects of Facebook than to other outlets. However, many social media users, personalities, and influencers have admitted to the effects of social media on their brain and how it forced them to think vainly of themselves. Neurologically, the nucleus accumbens in the brain is responsible for the reward processing, which includes money, food, sex, and positive reputation. The nucleus accumbens feels rewarded when feedback in that area is at a high level. If the positive feedback we get from social media triggers that level, attention is received, which can create somewhat of an addiction. The positive feedback can also be disguised as beneficial, as seen through body positive campaigns and messages promoting self-love. In reality, these so-called positive messages cause users to be only focused on themselves and their happiness. Even the negative aspects of social media, such as comparing oneself or criticizing others, can indirectly make someone narcissistic because they are still thinking selfishly. This addiction not only poses a problem in regards to the falseness of the message, but also for Christians who are called to take up their cross daily and follow Christ. Narcissism rips out any thought of others unless it is only for personal gain. This begets the virtue of humility, which is often lost in translation or not properly practiced. Humility is the absence of self, therefore forcing reliance on God's salvation. According to the Bible, we must always put ourselves last and find joy and contentment through this selfless act, since we are ultimately glorifying God. Although Josh Burwell's tragic death at the Sunset Cliffs is extreme, we must be aware of the danger to our souls. If we continue to live vain, self-focused lives caused by social media, we will walk right off the cultural and spiritual cliff into a hopeless abyss of self-obsession. Have you found yourself focused only on your profile, image, or stature when on social media? I have. Ultimately, the solution to fighting narcissism and vanity is found through striving to be like Jesus. Humbling ourselves before others and before God exalts our Creator in ways that rid us of the empty glory vanity promises. Your character is more important than the character count. Your character is more important than any false character you might be portraying online. Your character in Christ is more important than any fallacious messages of superiority or inferiority social media may be feeding you. Let us remember our true state of brokenness, creatures in desperate need of grace, and let us seek to exalt Christ through our use of social media. Thank you.